Without further ado, we're going to start our first segment of the day. We have a guest on who is organizing an event for East Palestine, Ohio, a rally and mutual aid event, which we will talk about in just a moment. But we're going to admit our guest, the organizer of this event. Most of you guys know who she is. She's on Twitter. She does a YouTube show herself, Savage Joy Marie. Man, Savage Joy, thanks. Good to meet you finally. I've never actually met you.
Yeah,
before.
you too.
Read your
Thanks
stuff,
so much
seen
for
some of your
having
stuff,
me.
but yeah, absolutely. No, absolutely.
Thanks for coming on.
Thanks for coming on.
That is a great background.
Yeah, it's kind of fancy.
Fancier than ours, that's for sure.
Yeah,
No, but
Caton stole this from his high school photographer.
yeah, exactly. It's my high school yearbook backdrop is what I have going on here. More low tech.
I'm a lit major. I was an English major in college, so the books are my wheelhouse. I dig it.
Beautiful.
Thank you.
Beautiful. Well, thank you so much for being here. Thanks for reaching out and letting us know about this, because we always make time for East Palestine activism here. So this is the Eventbrite page, the March for Medicare for All rally and mutual aid for East Palestine, Ohio, Saturday, July 22nd. From noon to 3 p.m. That is at the county clerk in Lisbon, Ohio. So do you want to just start by explaining what this event is, how you organized it, what the status of it is, and what are some of the organizing goals behind it? It says here on the page that the core demand is that Section 1881A of the Social Security Act be enacted for the people of the town. So can you explain for us what that is and how it's already been invoked before to a certain extent in a small and often unheard of town of Libby, Montana?
Yeah, so 1881A is something that was put into place. It's 1881A of the Social Security Act, and it was put into place, and a town called Libby, Montana has it. The reason why they received it is because they had asbestos in the air. And what that does is it gives people 100% free health care, known as Medicare for all, essentially. And it is for life. So these people have had this for several years. It was enacted on a state, or excuse me, on a local level. So it's not something that the entire country has to have. So essentially, these people have had free health care. The difference with East Palestine is that it is not just East Palestine that has been affected. There are many surrounding areas. In fact, even parts of Pennsylvania are also suffering because of East Palestine's derailment. So, and of course, it's, not that hard to understand. There's not like some, visible wall that stops, toxins from, from going into another state or town. The reason why we're having it in Lisbon is because it's like a neighboring town, but we have been told that, it is still super toxic after over 5 years, or 5 months. It feels like 5 years. So we will be going to Lisbon, but I'm not going to get too into it, but some of us are going into East Palestine anyway. And doing, we'll call it a bit of a demonstration there, because you know what, we'll have hazmat suits, things like that. But we're coming from all over the country to do this, and we're not going to be that close and not do something of even more significance. So we have hazmat suits and all that stuff. But yeah, this is mainly to help draw attention to it. We do demand 1881A. And also, it's been over 5 months, and the governor, after extensions and everything like that, has finally had the balls to be like, okay, you know what? Let's give them a state of emergency. And Biden, I think we're on day 11, still just doesn't care, and has yet to sign this. He hasn't even talked about it. then again, he's been saying for 5 months he's going to stop there and go visit, and he hasn't. So really, it's up to us to demand and to provide mutual aid, because we know the government is not going to do anything. And this is the epitome of an example of that.
Well, it's interesting. The 1881A of the Social Security Act was basically invoked for Libby, Montana as a provision of the ACA. And during those negotiations, it was Max Baucus, Democratic senator from Montana, who actually got that in as a carve-out under the ACA. Ironically, Baucus was one of the most vocal opponents of single-payer health care during that whole negotiation. Not that it was ever being floated, but Bernie was chirping about single-payer at the time, and Baucus was one of the, whatever they call them, blue dog, yellow dog, I forget what fucking colored dogs they are, but always something with the Democrats, right? All of a sudden, blue dogs, right? That's why you can't have it. But he was one of them, yet he created this carve-out for his people when he saw a political opportunity to do so. Now, on the one hand, that is infuriating because the sort of political opportunism is just kind of nauseating, right? How a guy who's so against Medicare for all, so against single payer, can see an opportunity to win points with his own voters, and so he'll carve it out for them. On the other hand, it's encouraging in the sense that even people who speak out against single-payer healthcare can be persuaded under the right circumstances in the right places. And in that situation in Montana, there was a mine that was poisoning the air in the town. In this case, it's 5 train cars full of toxic chemicals. So it seems like if it was able to happen there, why wouldn't it be able to happen here?
Absolutely. And one of the
Russell got a little vinyl chloride in the nose. It's coming this way.
It's like whenever you cover this story.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
And you know, the thing is, in reality, we could have all gotten it for 3 years under the pandemic, because that is also applicable. Flint's been going on over 9 years. They could have it. I mean, the list goes on. And yes, I mean, the fact of the matter is it exists. It's there. It is just not being implemented. And I've become very, very close to a lot of the East Palestine residents who will be speaking next Saturday. And they are suffering so beyond anything I could ever try to explain. And they need this healthcare. Like, they need it. They are paying over $700 out of pocket just for vinyl chloride testing. Wow. They are experiencing rashes, boils, itchy eyes. I'm going to trigger warning, but little boys are peeing blood. Like, I cannot explain to you how bad this stuff is. It is awful. And they opened this clinic in town a couple months ago, run by Norfolk Southern, and the people there are working for Norfolk Southern, so it's very obvious that they are not exactly going to have the bedside manner. I've interviewed locals who say that they went in for blood tests to see just how many toxins they have in their blood, and the nurse said, you know, to be honest, I don't know what kind of prior drugs you have in your system, so I can't, rule that out. That's how they're being treated. And then they started getting bills for that so-called free clinic. The clinic has 0 specialists. It is made up of like 2 PCPs. That's it. So they go and they're like, hey, take a Tylenol. And they are still, getting pushback. How do you know that's from this? Well, I know because I've never had these symptoms before this time. So yeah, I mean, it is, I cannot even put into words how bad it is there. And I know I'm risking my health and safety, as is, a few of my co-volunteers, but it's learning about this and connecting with these people has absolutely changed my life. And if not us, who? Because most people aren't even talking about it, let alone willing to go there and bring them the aid that the government is refusing to acknowledge they need.
Indeed. Russell, do you have anything to add?
Well, there's a mutual aid component to what you're doing there. Can you tell us a little bit about that so people can help out, get involved?
Yes, that'd be wonderful. So there are multiple events that day. It's not just East Palestine. So when the money we've raised, East Palestine is only getting, a portion of that because there are other events. So at this point, we only have I think it's $4,000 for mutual aid, which sounds like a lot, but these people are still bathing in bottled water. This $4,000 is literally nothing. And I've been trying to raise money for this since April. So
Wow.
We're bringing pallets of water, groceries, items for the kiddos, supplies. We need way more than that, way more. And it's a week away. In reality, nothing is going to be substantial enough. But I've been screaming into the void, come on, folks, $5. It's an entire case of water for a family. And it's just not going well, quite honestly. So they need your help.
Yeah. Well, there's the link for the Give, Send, Go for the mutual aid component of this. Before I let you go, I just wanted to read a statement from Governor Mike DeWine's office, because as you mentioned, he finally did request an emergency declaration. He writes on their site there, the possibility remains that the voluntary support provided by Norfolk Southern could at some point in the future cease. The possibility remains that the voluntary support provided by Norfolk Southern could at some point cease, and this emergency declaration is needed to ensure that the state and federal government use all resources available to step in and provide the community with the needed assistance. So, as you said in your first answer, it took him 5 months to ask for that, and now he finally has. Do you have any sense of why he eventually gave in and asked? Because there was really no reason not to do this from the outset.
Right. I mean, it affects him in no way other than shows maybe he has a little bit of a fucking conscience. I don't know. Yeah. But, maybe a little empathy. At this point, I don't care if it's for political prowess or I don't care. I just care that it was done. But the fact of the matter is, that is just a blatant lie when he says Norfolk Southern continuing to help. What they've done to help is they have given everyone in East Palestine a $10 coupon to go to local businesses. They have had a carnival on contaminated land. They have had an Easter egg hunt on contaminated land. They have had a carnival and fireworks on contaminated land. This is how they're helping. They also just had a unanimous vote that they're going to put in a freaking amphitheater right in ground zero. $25 million. East Palestine has 3,000 people. What the hell's the point of that? This is how they're investing their money. And it's absolutely absurd to act like they are doing anything when these people have been displaced. Their family home of decades is getting demolished. They're living in hotels they're paying out of their own pocket for. The devastation is unreal. And to give people perspective, these are people with a median income of $27,000 for a family of 4 before this happened. So these people are poor. I mean, just absolutely poor. And you are taking them and you are violently making them struggle even more. And just not caring at all. And they did the Obama fake sip of water. And people who were local were like, okay, before the camera started, there was a pour from a bottle, and it's all these look at me, I'm on camera, everything's amazing. And the reality is that it is absolutely getting worse. Then they just had another freaking derailment a couple days ago. this is going to happen again, and not just there. It's going to happen all over, and people are going to be in the exact same situation. The difference is other people may be a higher income who it happens to, but this is on us to stand up and be like, you know what? Fuck you, Biden. You have the ability to sign a paper, give these people some help. It's not going to, cancel anything out, or supersede any of the, the shit you have done to these people, but it's going to give them at least some sense of reprieve. I just don't see people talking about it online. So it's up to us to hold these freaking politicians accountable. And I just want to stress to everyone, this may be out of the media and even a lot of independent media, but this is still happening. And we will be live streaming. I've also interviewed about a dozen East Palestine residents who call me in the middle of the night crying, saying that they don't think they can fight anymore. So people have PTSD, they are suffering, they have depression, anxiety. 2 of them have reached out to me being suicidal. This is so serious. So I want to stress to everyone, this shit is far from over. And even if Biden actually did grow some balls and sign this today, it's still not going to be immediate. It's not going to be enough. And these people are already sick. And we're going to keep finding out for the rest of their lives more and more toxins that are coming up within their body.
Yeah, everybody who I talk to who covers this as regularly as you do say that they have to not only be a journalist, but they have to be a therapist to the people who they're getting information from, because not only do these people have nowhere to go for help, they have no one to talk to. They have no one to hear them out. So you've been doing a great job on this. I was going to ask if there's going to be video of the event on Saturday, but you answered that already. So we will cut together some of that, and we will incorporate that on our show the following day, because we're on Sunday night. So we will do a little feature on that for a little post game. And if you want to come on and talk about it then again for a little post game, we'd love to have you back, actually. That would be great.
That would be amazing. I appreciate it so much. And I just encourage people, please chip in, even if it's a few bucks. It means a lot to these people.
Yeah, indeed.
Yeah, let's see that link again.
Yeah, we're going to put this link up again here at the Give, Send, Go. That is a live link now where you can donate to help this event get off the ground, and obviously help in the mutual aid component of the rally and the protest action. I will clip this interview tonight as its own piece, and I'll put the link back in there again. But thank you so much, Joy, for joining us this morning. It was great to meet you finally. I've heard a lot about you. I've seen a lot of your stuff, but never actually got to talk to you. So it was a great pleasure. And we will be in touch. We'll have you back on Sunday to talk about how the rally went a week from tomorrow, or a week from Sunday.
Awesome. Thank you so much, brothers. I really, really, really appreciate it.
All righty.
Thank you.
God bless. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Please clap.